Hey guys and gals and everybody. I think I figured out the New World Order. So, man, it's going to be kind of hard to describe because of the layers of propaganda for decades and decades. And it's really, this is just an idea, okay? So don't take it, take it with a grain of salt because I could be wrong. And I hope I am wrong. I really hope my ideas are, in this case, just totally wrong. But here's what I think is going on. You see, there's a previously existing global aristocracy, if you will. And these people have groups like Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg meetings, and the UN and NATO and other alliances where they've formed this sort of, they're called the global elites, is what they call them, right? And most of the nations that they sort of look over are democratic. They have democratic elections and functioning socialist type governments, or in our case, it was more of like, a Democrat, a republic with democratic elections. It's kind of a hybrid system. And there's other, but it was mostly democratic places where there were real elections, and there may have been interference on elections, but for the most part, the people had some consent in who was elected and who represented them. Okay? That's what was. For decades, those quote unquote global elites have been demonized, okay, as wanting to implement a new world order. But the people that are actually implementing a new world order as we speak have been demonizing those people for decades so that we would accept their takeover, which is what's happening now. And it's really tricky because it's kind of like a narcissistic projection, and it's the kind of deception that a normal person wouldn't think to deceive somebody that way. Even if you had a screw loose, it's really weird to imagine how they did it, because it's pretty well done. It's almost there. But like the way it was, it's kind of like this, man. Have you ever dated someone? I'm sure some of you guys, I know my demographic, mostly guys 25 to 35. Some of y'all have probably dated somebody and you were head over heels, and then out of the blue, they started accusing you of cheating or something. And you're like, well, I had a lunch with Sally on Tuesday, but I'm not cheating. What? And then they keep just getting more and more intense about it. And they're like up your ass about it, and they're freaking out. And then come to find out some years later, after everything falls apart, you found out they were actually cheating on you the whole time. They were accusing you of doing the thing that they were doing, right? That's like a narcissistic tactic. And if it's implemented on a mass scale, you can fool millions that way. So what I'm saying is, all these conspiracy nut deals, and you got to remember, I grew up right wing, like pretty right wing. So I've seen both sides of the political spectrum, and I understand things about both sides of the political spectrum. I now consider myself left leaning, but there was a time when I was very right leaning, and actually both sides have some interesting, good things to say, and you want to keep your firearms. I'll tell you that, because you never know. So there's certain things about life that that's the crazy world we live in. And you need First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and a right to petition your government for a redress of grievances. That's how it's actually written. Anyway, so the way they did this is by sort of like finding the people that knew something was wrong with the world and then steering them in a direction to gain control over the existing power source. So for decades, this sort of like a propaganda about, oh, the Illuminati and the elites, and they're doing this, and they're sacrificing babies, and there's blood, and there's like, they find all these crazy things that maybe some asshole did, but for the most part, it's just wackadoodle shit that can demonize a group of people. And they did that for decades. And now they finally, in America and a lot of the world, they finally have enough public support to overthrow that system. So that global system of elites is going to be replaced. But I think it's an out of the frying pan and into the fire situation, because the people that are replacing them are themselves psychopaths. Like, they are the psychopaths, the ones that have been telling you about other people being psychopaths. Like, that's how they tricked you. Because if you look at their track record, they all knew Epstein. They all have had sexual allegations against them. I mean, the people that are going around screaming and shouting about the New World Order, and the people that are screaming and shouting about America being America again and all this, they're in it for their own power. And it's sad. It's sad to watch, man, because I know the people that are saying make America great again are red-blooded, well-intended Americans. And I mean, I'm glad they're happy. I want them to be happy. I want America to be great again. Like, that's a great message. But you cannot forget about the character of the individuals that are gaining power right now and their alliances with Russia. Think about it from a Russian perspective. Okay, Russia is not a properly functioning democracy. When communism fell, they created, so they have a democratic republic, a constitutional republic, just like the United States. Did you know that? Russia has a constitutional republic, just like the United States. But look at Vladimir Putin. He's been president for 20 years or something? And their media is totally got their citizens one-sided. There's just one political party, one main media source, and so people go to war in Russia, these poor Russian guys. And I mean, Russians are fine, the people are great, but they don't know, man. Their government sends them into Ukraine thinking, and they're telling them that they're going to go fight Nazis in Ukraine. And then they find out, well, there's no Nazis here. What is this? It's just some old lady giving them the finger and some torn up buildings that are blown to shit. It's because they've got a single party system with a dictator that's been in place for years, even though there's elections, right? Because, I mean, how could they got them by the balls over there in Russia? And that's what they're trying to do here. And the way they did it, the way the Russians did it, and they've pretty much damn near got it done, unless Republicans wake up, because they're the ones being targeted right now. They don't know it. They took our two-party system and implemented a simple divide and conquer strategy. So a divide and conquer strategy, you have Republicans, you have Democrats. You befriend the stronger of the two parties. You make the weaker of the two parties even weaker. So now they're all having white guilt, and they're all tangled up in emotions and unable to arm themselves or fight. And then you take the stronger of the two parties and make them your allies. The Republicans now. Single party dominance in all three branches of government. You guys better watch out, man. Y'all Republicans better watch out for Russia, because they are up your tailpipe trying to get this country to have a autocracy, a single leader, a single party. That's what they want, because you'll be like them. And then all the dictators, all the Kim Jong-uns and Xi Jinpings and Vladimir Putin's and Donald Trump's and all the people that are psychopaths that don't care about consent, because they don't care about consent for women or rape or any of that shit, because psychopaths don't fucking care about consent. They want power. And so they don't care about the consent of the governed. So there's no democracy vote. the vote for democracy in that case it's just a fraudulent vote. And that's where we see these joke countries where some dictator gets 99% of the vote. Yeah, because people are afraid they're going to die, so they have to vote for him. Is that what you want? Because that's where we're headed. So you better watch out for Russia, because that's what they want to do. And the oligarchs, an aristocracy is actually a good thing if they're noble. And these elites, maybe they were full of shit, but they at least pretended to fucking be noble. These oligarchs aren't going to pretend. They're psychopaths, and once they get power, I mean, they'll pretend if it helps them get more power, but their main goal is to just rule with an iron fist and climb to the top of whatever oligarchy. And so that's the New World Order, is a breakdown of the old world order. And you're going to have Russia, China, North Korea, and the United States forming an axis, an alliance that goes away from the traditional norms of NATO and democracy. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I've been studying conspiracy crap and listening to conspiracy stuff for decades. And I've come out of it. I've woken up to it. I've been brainwashed. I've been unbrainwashed. I've been rebrainwashed. I mean, I've been through the ringer with this psychologically. But my mind is pretty decently sharp, okay? And it's still functioning well. So I really think I'm onto something. I think you guys, you Republicans, if there's one final message, it is to keep America a democracy. And if you want to make America great again, you can start by making sure that it is a democracy. Let me ask you one last thing. If you're a Republican, because I know tons of Republicans out there, especially in Texas. And that's cool, man. I used to vote that way. It's no big deal. Everybody has their opinions and shit. That's why we have a free country, man. Who do you hate more? Who do you dislike more? The liberal media, the woke mob, or the Russian government? Who do you dislike more? If your answer is, man, I hate those liberals, I hate that liberal media, they got you, man. They got you hating Americans more than their guys that did this jacked up system. Don't get sucked into that jacked up system where there's one king. Trump has to go in 4 years. Them's is the rules. Even if he got a third term, that would be it. You can't have a leader stay for decade after decade and one party stay for decade after decade and Fox News be the one media outlet that is the beacon of truth and nobody can say anything different. So, tell me what you think, because I sincerely hope that I'm totally wrong and that the liberal media has got some liberal magic and they've just brainwashed everybody and, we're on the right track here. But I deeply, instinctively know that I think some shit's messed up. And I think probably the best thing you can do if you're like me and red-blooded but a little bit paranoid, work hard, get money, make sure you have ability to travel, to bug out, bug in, get a passport, do what you got to do. But now's not a time to be dilly-dicking around or thinking everything's just honky-dory. You better keep your eyes on it, and you better keep working hard. Try to stay healthy, work hard, put that money in the bank, because for a while, there's always a honeymoon period. Even with the narcissists and dictators, there's always a honeymoon period. So you better take advantage of that nice little honeymoon period we got here for a year or month or 6 months or however long it lasts. Start putting that money in the bank, baby, because you're going to need it to move around. That's my 2 cents. Say what you will in the comments. Be nice. Don't say anything too, mean or whatever. I don't want a bunch of bots or anything. If this video has a no comments, that means somebody took it to the extreme and I had to self-censor. But you know, put your comments down there and share it around, and you know, because let's see what other people think. You know, maybe I don't know. See what you think. Have a good day.